absolutely beautiful fall Saturday night in the North Carolina Capitol. And a capacity crowd is expected inside the electric Carter-Finley Stadium. The Wolfpack are number 12 in the nation. And Dave Doran has his team ready to play. We welcome you to ACC football, presented by your local Ford dealer. And tonight, for the third time ever, the Wolfpack taking on the Yukon Huskies, who are 1-3. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our broadcast booth with the great James Bates. I am Evan Lepler. Lauren Jabbar is coming up on the sideline in a moment. And here's what we know. NC State, they're 3-0. They're number 12 in the country. The defense has been phenomenal, especially last Saturday night against Texas Tech. Can they get the offense going tonight?
Yeah, that's a good question. But let's start with the defense, shall we? If you like good defense, these dogs will hunt on both sides of the field. Jim Moore is a defensive guy. Dave Doran, of course, came up through the defensive ranks as well. And Tony Gibson, the defensive coordinator of NC State, he has to be thrilled with the way his defensive unit is flying around, penetrating, making big plays just from the up front, the defensive line to the safety, Tanner Engel. They have really been impressive. And it's a big change from week one. Week one, they missed way too many tackles. They were out of assignment. They were out. Their angles were bad, but they are playing some great football. If you watched the game last weekend, Jackson Mitchell, great linebacker to watch for on the Yukon side. But on the offensive side, if you watched Clemson and Wake Forest today, where did Wake Forest have a lot of success? With those deep balls. Sam Hartman threw 6 touchdown passes, and he was deep all the time with accuracy. And that's the one thing that's been missing, is the explosive plays from the offense and the accuracy from Devin Leary. So look for them to try to get into a little bit of that rhythm today.
Devin Carter and Keon Lassane, the two perimeter receivers. We'll see if Devin Leary and the Wolfpack offense can get them involved in advance of what's coming up next week. Down on the sideline, Lauren Jabara on a beautiful night for football. Lauren has the story on the running backs, who we're not going to see all the starters tonight. Lauren, what's the story?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I have to say the energy down here is incredibly palpable. I haven't seen anything like that run out in a very long time. Speaking of the running game, the starting running back for the Huskies going to be out tonight with an ankle injury. And on the other side, the 1-2 punch that we're used to seeing for the Wolfpack in Jordan Houston, he's out with the concussion protocol, but we do get to see a lot more of Demi Sumo Karngbe slides into that #1 running back role, getting the full workload tonight after a solid 3 weeks to start the season. 203 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Now, I asked him this week who his team was growing up, who he supported, who he loved the most. He said he always went for the team with the best uniform, which was Oregon growing up. He said, now though, I think we have some pretty sick drip, and if you look at their uniforms tonight, guys, the first time ever the Wolfpack are wearing the black helmets with the full red unis. It's going to be a dogfight tonight. The Huskies going up against the Wolfpack. Can't even wait, guys.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Demi has been an impact player through the first 3 weeks, and he gets his first start tonight. Yukon won the toss and deferred, so it'll be the Wolfpack offense taking the field as Devin Leary makes his 24th start for NC State. Last week, James, 15 for 23, 121 yards. He was good, but he and the Wolfpack know he can be better.
Yeah, and it starts with him. He certainly knows that. He's a head leader of this football team. He knows what he needs to do, and what they need to do just as an offense is get him going with the quick game and get him rolling a little bit, lathered up early. And man, if you're a Wolfpack fan, you would love to see him connect on a couple of these deep balls, a couple of these explosive plays here tonight, and get that thing going, and it'll be rocking on all cylinders.
Looking right immediately, looking deep. Thayer Thomas makes the adjustment, makes the catch. Off he goes. Malik Dixon-Williams can't get there. It's a 75-yard touchdown for NC State. Hard to imagine a primetime play to start an evening game better than that.
Well, just what we called for, the explosive play. They have been non-existent really here as of late. And leave it to the little big man. In this world of college football, you've got so many giants out there on the outside now. The big 6'5" bodies, long bodies. 6 foot Thayer Thomas going up and finding finding a way to pull that football down. The extra point is good. First play from scrimmage on offense. The Wolfpack making some noise.
On that catch, Thomas becomes the 8th Wolfpack receiver in history with at least 2,000 receiving yards in his career. Also his 22nd career receiving touchdown. Now alone for the 2 spot in the history of the program.
Chris Sheeran is the corner here, and he just runs on by. You can't lose a field defensively of where that body is of the receiver. It's, in essence, a back shoulder throw here, just an underthrown ball, really, if you will. And Thayer Thomas, if there's anybody that's going to fight and go up and find a way to pull it down, it's this guy, and then he'll go find the paint. So the leading receiver just keeps on coming, and that'll get him hopping there on the Wolfpack sidelines, that's for sure.
My goodness, 14 seconds in, it's 7-0. Now, the last time the Huskies went on the road to face an ACC foe, they led 7-0 about 10 seconds into the game because they returned the opening kickoff in Death Valley last November. Before today, that was the last time the Clemson Tigers had trailed in a football game. No electric return here. And the Huskies will take the field at their 25-yard line. Their freshman quarterback, Zion Turner, from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He's talented, but he is very young, and he's replacing Taquan Roberson, who got hurt about 10 plays into the opener against Utah State.
Yeah, how unfortunate. A quarterback battle that was pretty close through camp, but Robinson won it. And early in that Utah State game, coaches said, you know, you could see he was ready. It was his show. Scored on the opening drive, and then he was injured. So it's up to Zion Turner. But the good news is, he's a winner. He expects to win. He comes from one of the winningest football programs in high school ball in the Sunshine State, St. Thomas Aquinas.
Completes his first pass. Kevin's Clercius with his 6th catch of the season for 11 yards and a Huskies first down.
And that's key, Evan. I'm sorry. But for them to come out, hey, disregard what just happened, and this place is rocking, and the noise against your offense. Got a young guy. Let's make a nice, easy completion. They move the chains as well, and it's a fresh set of downs here, so they're moving things early.
Tight formation. Turner's going to keep it himself. And 2 plays, 2 first downs for UConn into NC State territory. 17 on the ground for Zion.
Zion, who had 42 yards rushing in the big house in the 59-0 loss against Michigan. And you know, and defensively, yeah, it's great that we're all swarming the football and making big plays and hunting together, but therein lies the rub. You don't want to step out of responsibility. You don't want to try to go make things happen that aren't your role on that defense. Everybody's got to play their assignment, and sneaking out the gate for back-to-back first downs goes Turner.
Turner hits the football. The receiver who we expected to get some rushing opportunities today, met in the backfield there by Corey Durden, among others. And he goes nowhere. Our impact players are brought to you by your local Toyota dealers.
Yeah, Aaron Turner, a Percy Harvin type, comparing him to somebody here in the last few years of college football. Just look for them to scatter him around with all the injuries, try to get him to make some big plays. And then you've got, take your pick on the defensive side, some incredible linebackers, especially the leader in the middle, Isaiah Moore. Boy, was he special in the win over Texas Tech last weekend.
Well, the Wolfpack defense has gotten healthy for the most part, especially in the linebacking core. Turner not going to shake free from Jakeem Harris. It'll be 3rd and 7.
Jakeem Harris, his #1 job right there is to get outside. Your help is inside, force that runner, and a shifty one at that, back inside. So not only does he do job #1, but the bonus is he drops him. So a 3rd down and long, and they'll make some noise here in Carter-Finley right now.
Aaron Turner, Jacob Flynn bunched together at the top of the formation. Turner in motion. And the give to Devontae Houston, and he's going to get close to the first down. It'll be marked about a half-yard shy.
Look at this offensive line. They've been impressive early, getting up and moving. The leaders of this team in a quick snap. As we saw that on 4th down.
Turner trying to sneak it up to the middle, and NC State was ready for it. And this is all about the spot. They really had to get to the 37. Dave Doran doesn't think they got there, and from that spot, it's going to be NC State football.
Yeah, Texas Tech just 1 of 4 on 4th down against this defense. UConn 0 for 1 to start tonight.
Well, Jim Mora, first-year coach at UConn, 6 years at UCLA, long time in the NFL. He's got an uphill battle tonight against the Pack. Another sold-out Carter-Finley here on a Saturday night in the North Carolina Capitol. 7-0 NC State. 3:15 into the first. Let's take a look at our 4 keys to the game with James Bates.
All right, Mr. Saturday Night Special. And use the Leonard Skinner lyric because special teams is so important for UConn. Boy, if they struggled on the 3rd phase of the game against Michigan. They gave up a big kick return for a touchdown. They had a punt block. They have got to shore that up because they're playing against an NC State team that has been phenomenal going back even to last year on special teams. Just game after game, they have made such a difference. Todd Gobel's group in that 3rd phase. And for NC State, 0 waste, no wasted opportunities. Play complementary football, take advantage of turnovers, score off of turnovers, don't waste it. And that's on Sustainability Day, by the way. A lot of people can't do that.
That's right. Sharp. Wolfpack are not going to score on 1 play on this drive. Keon Lassane stopped after a short gain of 2 by Malik Dixon-Williams.
Nice job in the open field by Dixon-Williams out of Orlando, Florida. And, you know, one thing that I've seen early in this one, and you know, hey, the big play aside, this is a UConn team that isn't hanging their heads after a 59-0 beating by Michigan last week.
False start. Number 74, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Gary Patterson is our referee tonight.
You know, right behind maybe getting some big plays here with this offense is that. It's that. It's just, I mean, you've got some veteran guys who have played so many snaps on that offensive line and just too many pre-snap mistakes and penalties that can kill you in some of these big games.
Demi Sumo Carnbag bouncing off tacklers. This kid from Jersey has spunk and skill. 18 yards for DSK.
Just how Jordan Houston started it on the ground last week against Texas Tech, setting the tone behind that big offensive line. And I love the 1-2 punch of those 2 guys. We won't see Jordan Houston. Lauren told you off the top tonight he should be okay in the concussion protocol for next week against Clemson. So it'll be the 0 show for a while here early.
Darryl Jones gets an early touch. And he's forced out of bounds right around the 38-yard line.
Number 11, Darryl Jones.
Trey Wortham ushered him out of bounds, a gain of 8. Back to our Toyota Impact players, James, for the Wolfpack. Devin Carter, they expect big things out of this guy.
Well, and you know what? They're going to need him as the year goes on. 0 catches against Texas Tech, and Jackson Mitchell leads the country in tackles coming into today with 49. So keep your eyes on number 8 in that white uniform.
Mitchell banged up in the 4th quarter last week, didn't play down the stretch. Deep ball, Thomas can't get this one. Pretty good coverage there by Chris Sheeran. And it will be 3rd and short here for the Pack.
Evan, you're right. And it was Chris Sheeran on the coverage earlier where he ran by. He lost. There's a shot to the head with Leary, and UConn lucky they don't get a flag there. But, you know, he's beat a little bit. He just puts that head down. He's not trying to peek back. He's just running, and at the end, raking through that wrist. So if that ball falls in the hands of Thayer Thomas, he's able to rip it away. That's good defensive play.
Leary calls his own number, and we'll move the chains. Picks up a couple. It's interesting, James. This NC State team has two guys from Jersey, so important to the offense with Leary and Sumo Carnbay. We asked Demi about that yesterday. He said, where the best football in the country is, New Jersey.
How
with a
about
little
that?
grin on his face.
You got to have the confidence, right? I guess there's some people on the team from Florida and then some from North Carolina that might want to argue a little bit.
Leary zips it to the outside, connecting with Jones. Knocked down immediately.
Daryl Jones, who played for the now wide receiver coach of this Wolfpack, Joker Phillips, at Maryland, transferred over from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Graduate student. It's been a pleasant surprise for this team.
Little swing pass and some space. Lassane has the first down inside the 25.
Trying to get the ball to Keon Lassane early. Both Keon Lassane and 88 Devin Carter trying to get them involved. A good job blocking down the field for his teammate by Porter Rooks to help spring them and move those chains.
Well, we know Dave Doran was watching the Wake Forest-Clemson game earlier today. Double overtime thriller in Winston-Salem. Wolfpack heading to Death Valley next week as Leary slides down. He'll be spotted at the 20-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 6. And a 7:30 kickoff here, a noon kickoff in the Triad. And they got to get a pretty good look at the strengths and weaknesses of the Tigers that were on display today.
Yeah, my Gators lost. Your Demon Deacons lost. Hey, Lauren Jabara's Michigan Wolverines won at least.
Sumo Carnbay has the first down and more. Demi Sumo Carnbay extends into the end zone. 20-yard touchdown for Demi.
Evan, he's so tough to bring down. Look at that offensive front moving in unison. And he's got the speed. When he turns on the jets, you're not going to catch him if you take an angle where you're chasing him from behind. So as a backer, or as somebody that even penetrates on that defensive line, once you're there and he's on his way north and south, you better adjust that angle and go hope that you can meet him at the goal line, because he's going to beat you there. He won't meet you there. Man, he is fun to watch.
As a backer, what are you seeing and thinking when you watch him break those tackles?
Just that you have to be on. You have to be perfect with your angles, and that's one thing that these backers for this team, his own team, that I've been really impressed with. Their angles are very good, and the inside out and good fits.
Right down the middle for Christopher Dunn, and it's 14-zip. Third rushing score of the season for Demi Sumo Carnbay. Well, that young fan wants to see more. He's not quite impressed enough by the Wolfpack start, but half a quarter in the books. Goodness, 14-zip. Sumo Carnbay from 20 to punctuate the 9-play drive. Let's go down to the sideline with Lauren Jabara.
Thanks so much, guys. Yeah, we talked to head coach Dave Doran a little bit earlier this week, and he said, look, going into this game today, we're not focusing on Clemson next week. We're focusing on us and how we can improve 1% every single day. So actually on their Tuesday meetings, guys, every single player writes down one thing that they want to focus on heading into the week, and then they share it with their other teammates so everyone can be aware of those improvements that they want to make. And one of the biggest things they're focusing on as a team, 12 explosive plays per game. Guys, we've already seen quite a few of those in this one.
We sure have. Another touchback for Colin Smith. Dave Doran instituted this one more philosophy 7-8 years ago, but he said the guys in the culture has really gotten to a place where it is it's permeating everything they do right now, focusing on the one thing to improve each week.
I love it. I love the mindset. You know, if you're not staying in the same spot, so you're getting worse or you're getting better. And let's make sure we get better, and let's hold each other accountable. Let's hold ourselves accountable by writing it down, putting it on paper. I mean, it was like just last week, Boston College, we had that game, and Lauren Jabara, she wrote on her goal, her one thing was to wear more tigers in her attire. She's got tons of tigers tonight, so check that one off.
She said she couldn't wear dogs, so she had to wear cats.
Right.
And, you know, the Huskies and the Wolfpack are playing. You can't show bias one way or another. The Canines. It's a 6-yard run on first down for Devontae Houston. Lauren, would you like to defend yourself?
I would. Honestly, you guys, I just thought, look, we have 2 dogs competing on the field right now between the Huskies and the Wolfpack. Why not complete the circle of life, the zoo, if you will? And I've gotten like 6 cat names. I've gotten Jaguar, Tiger, Lion. Pick your cat. Pick your choice.
I think they could be leopards, too, on that outfit. Here's Devontae Houston again. No relation to the injured Jordan Houston for NC State. A little more on the one more about Isaiah Moore. We asked the middle linebacker, what's your one more for this week? Is it better communication? I said, it's pretty loud. How do you communicate in this atmosphere when you're on defense? So the guys in front of me, they should be able to hear me. The guys behind me, it's all hand signals, but it's being very active. Give a signal, get a signal. They want to be better.
Yeah, and the captain, he'll get them all straight, that's for sure. Let's see what they've got on a 3rd down and short now. Remember, last time out, UConn was stuffed when they went for it on 4th down.
That's a direct snap that bounces and goes nowhere. Robert Burns blown up immediately. And here comes the punt team.
Yeah, trying to get cute on 3rd down and short, but when you've got a big defensive front you're staring down like that, you got to get interesting at times. The snap, I'm not sure if Giordoni, if he forgot that he was supposed to snap it to the back after the quarterback, after Turner left. But UConn lucky that this one takes a nice hop and they can punt it away and try to push NC State back.
Mayor Thomas standing at his own 29. Calls for a fair catch, and goodness, he positioned himself perfectly because he was waiting at the 29, and he catches it at the 29. And we'll take a timeout. Dave Doran's Wolfpack has the ball back. They're 2 for 2, scoring touchdowns so far.
ACC football is brought to you by Georgia Drive Chevy, Z-Max Micro Lubricant, extend engine life, increase fuel mileage. Available at Walmart. And Green Machine, available exclusively online at HomeDepot.com.
Wolfpack 14, Huskies 0. And Devin Leary retaking the field. I'd say he's had a pretty good start, James. 5 for 6, 98 yards, a 75-yard touchdown throw. And these numbers presented by Z-Max Micro Lubricant. He is rising up the charts in NC State history.
Yeah, reeling them in. And some great names on that list ahead of them. And shoot, we're just getting started here tonight, so he might do some damage and creep up that list. Perhaps maybe even up to a number 4 before the night's over.
Got to imagine with the week that was in ACC chatter, Wolfpack fans had to enjoy their alum Jacoby Brissett getting the best of North Carolina alum Mitchell Trubisky on Thursday night.
Okay, yeah, that's true. There was a little bit of chatter from one of the other teams here in the Triangle.
Well, the day began with the North Carolina ACC squads unbeaten. That's no longer the case. The Wolfpack stand alone, and Keon Lassane making tacklers miss. Picks up a dozen on the first play of this drive.
Excellent job by Keon here to go back across his body and catch this ball. This ball's a bullet. It's thrown hard. He goes back and then to tuck it and go and get what you can. Good hustle from Lassane there, and a nice looking ball thrown by Leary.
6 first downs for NC State. Back to Lassane again. His 4th catch of the opening quarter.
Made his first career start back in week 1 at ECU. He had 1 catch in that game for 24 yards.
Played a lot of football as a reserve, though. I mean, tonight's his 35th college football game. But getting an expanded role, coaches are excited about what he can do. Out of the backfield, and pretty good game there for DeMarcus Jones, the second.
Yeah, people like DeMarcus Jones going to get a chance to step up and do some work here tonight. Look at the guys out on the edge. He's not only out there to catch footballs and look pretty, get down to the nitty-gritty and block. That's how the big plays are sprung, when they're locked onto those defensive backs.
Back to Thomas, and he's tripped up inside the 40. It'll be 2nd and 2. What can you say about Thayer Thomas? I mean, the career this dude has had for NC State.
That he's a fighter and he's a winner. If you were starting a football team, he would be one of the first guys you would want on your team. He's just so dang competitive. You can just tell. Every single thing he does, he's a fighter and he can do it all. We've seen him throw a lot of touchdown passes too.
Pretty good defense trying to get the ball to Devin Carter. But a hand in the cookie jar. Trey Wortham knocks it away.
So, big man, you know, they're coming to you. You got to find a way to catch those and get involved. You know, that's we're calling for, and a lot of Wolfpack fans calling for, hey, get number 88 involved, making his 37th start here today. Remember back in 2021, he led the team with almost 18 yards a reception.
92 catches, about 30 a year for the last 3 seasons. 3rd and 2. Wolfpack now 3 for 3 on 3rd down. Porter Rooks out of the formation to move the chains for NC State.
Yeah, Leary is in a nice rhythm, and he throws such a pretty ball.
Sure does.
This, you know, quicker game and right on time here, running those routes. Porter Rooks, what do I have to get? 2 yards for a first down? Boom, I'm going to put that foot in the dirt. I'm going to break it out, and that ball's waiting on me. You know, it's so tough to defend, especially when you're playing with a little bit of cushion like that. Defensively, you got to know where those chains are, where they're trying to get.
Tricky Wolfpack, and that might bring a flag. Yes, indeed. Julian Gray, horse collar down, and NC State will go inside the 20 after the penalty.
Holding. Offense. Number 74.
Interesting.
10-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
Well, that's why I don't have a white hat on, James.
Well, but I'm with you there, partner. I thought it was going to be a horse collar all the way. And that's Anthony Belton, who had a pretty big penalty on a trick play last week.
And was called for a false start earlier in the quarter.
Yeah, and this right here, this should be offsetting, and that's when the flag came in. So everybody thought the same thing as us. And Dave Doran saying the same thing, but if that's not a horse collar, I don't know what is. And
could you argue it was jersey and he didn't get his hand in the collar?
But I mean, it's anything up there. It doesn't matter if it's the shoulder pads or if it's the jersey. It's just dangerous because it's so tough on the knees when you tackle like that. So a team that doesn't get a lot of penalties, UConn dodging one there.
Back to Rooks. And this will be 1 yard shy of the first. I mean, coming into tonight, Devin Leary had completed passes to 17 different receivers in the first 3 games of the year. And this play halted before it starts.
Prior to the snap, false start. Number 56, offense, 5-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
The left tackle not to blame. It's the right tackle, Bryson Spees.
A vet. You know, I mean, here's a graduate player out there, and this is something that is just a momentum killer. You know, you got the holding penalty, but these little 5-yard penalties can add up, and they have really been a bugaboo for Dave Doran and his team here so far this year.
Looking for Thomas, comes back to the right, sets up the screen, and it's well defended. Chris Sheeran former Missouri Tiger. Goodness, his old school had a heartbreaker today against the Auburn Tigers, but Sheeran's making his plays here in the first.
Yeah, Jim Mora, remember, he's not only the head coach, but he's the defensive coordinator as well. And he's done a pretty good job of getting these guys in position and playing hard after giving up 59 to Michigan in the Big House last weekend. A nice tackle there.
On third down, Leary floats it deep, and it's incomplete. Malcolm Bell in the coverage for the Huskies.
Again, a fantastic job and a well-coached secondary that we're looking at. Bell is beat, puts his head down. When those eyes get big, when that receiver's hands go up, that ball's there. He can't afford to turn around, but try to rip it away. And we've seen it on a couple deep balls here tonight. Nice job. Even after the bust early on the first play that went for 75 yards, they've really locked it down a little bit in defending these receivers, knowing NC State's going to try them deep.
Christopher Dunn from 48. Got it. Another make for the school's all-time leading scorer.
Getting some headbutt action. Fifth generation farmer right there, putting it right down the middle.
What a career he's had. That's his 74th field goal in his career. It's an NC State record. He needs 22 more field goals to set the all-time NCAA record. Zane Gonzalez is that little inane piece of information. And now a message from Works Nitro.
Meet Works Nitro. Powerful tools for any project with gas-like power without the gas. Fueled by PowerShare batteries to give you the power to outperform.
Dave Doran and Jim Mora had similar messages this week, talking about measuring ourselves against ourselves. And NC State is playing at a different level and focusing on getting ready for the Clemson Tigers next week. UConn has a more manageable schedule in the months ahead after Syracuse and Michigan and NC State here today. And is there encouragement that can be had on the sidelines for UConn holding them to a field goal there?
This can be encouraging, a little bit of juice to set up some decent field position. But let's talk a little bit more about Jim Mora. Here's Lauren Jabbar.
Thanks so much, Batesy. Appreciate it. Yeah, well, we talked to Jim Mora this week just about what the team has been able to do. And he said, look, we have 12 guys injured right now. So as a coach, I need to come in and be patient with the team. I need to give them answers, know what things that we need to do as a team to improve, but also listen and hear what, they need to do and how they want to improve themselves too. So he's a really patient head coach. He said this is crazy how young this team is, how injured this team is. So they're working with the pieces that they have right now, but he is helping them improve every single day and also giving them the answers that they need in practice of what they need to work on as a team.
Absolutely, Lauren, and very candid, and how it's been tough to go from that head coaching role to a defensive coordinator as well that he didn't expect. And here's the defense swarming. And just to go way back and answer your question, Evan, yeah, absolutely. I mean, anytime you can keep this offense out of the end zone, that's a small victory. And obviously that 7 points adds up a lot faster than the 3s. Wouldn't they like to get a little something going here as we get near the second quarter on offense?
Jim Mora said he'd never been beat 59-0 in 35 years coaching, but look, he's the son of a Marine. He was a walk-on that earned a scholarship, played in a couple of Rose Bowls, coached an NFL team to the NFC Championship game. He's got a life in football, and this is a different type of rebuilding experience as one of the guys that'll help build the foundation, Victor Rosa, takes the carry that brings us to all zeros at the end of the first. Josh Harris and the Wolfpack are hyped. Took the NC State offense 14 seconds to score. Leary to Thomas for 75 yards on the first play from scrimmage. 1 down, 3 to go, and Raleigh 17-zip pack. A look at our first quarter stats brought to you by the Georgia Drive Chevy dealers. Everything good except for the penalties for the team in red.
Well, let's see if third down conversions can turn the good way for UConn. Third and long on this one.
They need 9, and well, that's a nice catch, but it's going to be shy of the first down. Pressure brought up the middle. Tanner Engel coming from the safety spot.
Yeah, they come from all over. I mean, they're coming from the sidelines, it seems like, when you're playing Tony Gibson's defense. This time, it's one of the best safeties around. Tanner Engel, he gets there. And, hey, credit Zion Turner getting that ball off and completing a pass and not taking the sack. And a big hit. And you've got a heat-seeking missile hunting you down like that, putting it away again.
George Caratan punted the ball 9 times at the Big House last week. Just his second punt here, and it'll be down right around the 23-yard line. 47 seconds gone in the second quarter, and we'll pause for a brief moment for this message from Green Machine.
With our 62-volt battery-powered blower in your hands, you are a machine. So power the machine with Green Machine. Available online at HomeDepot.com.
Jim Mora did not plan on being the defensive coordinator. Lou Spanos, who was the interim coach when Jim Mora joined the team last November, taking a leave of absence. So life has gotten even trickier for Jim Mora. Devin Leary unable to get free from Eric Watts in the backfield. Watts had his first sack of the season in Ann Arbor last week, and he gets one against the 12th-ranked Wolfpack here tonight.
Yeah, 5 solo tackles to go along with that sack, doing a great job of motoring down and corralling Devin Leary, and that's 10 sacks on the year now for Jim Mora's Husky defense.
Demi Sumo Karnbay has a 20-yard touchdown already. Just a yard here, runs into the arms of Bryce Yates. Demi Sumo Karnbay, named after his great uncle. His great uncle was named Demi. His dad's last name is Sumo. His mom's last name is Karnbay. His mom, Joyce, born in Liberia. When he was recruited, he was just Demi Sumo, but he wanted to add the Karnbay as a tribute to his mom. Devin Leary steps up, zips it to Rooks. Across the middle for the first down. Leary's throwing a good ball tonight, James.
Yeah, he really is. Those intermediate balls and a few of those short routes. How about this? Pocket presence, the pressure coming up top. Let me step up, hit the brakes, and throw a laser in there to move those chains on a third down and long after the sack in a bit of a tricky situation. No sweat, says the captain of this offense.
Leary goes closer to 200 yards in the first half with that completion to Thayer Thomas. 17 yards gives Leary a $184. Still early here in the second quarter. NC State 3-0 for the first time since they started 5-0 in 2018. That year they started 9-4. Certainly expectations around here are about as high as they've ever been.
Absolutely. Preseason rank of 13, highest in 47 years, Evan.
Floating in for Thomas and just out of the outstretched hands of the talented grad student from Wake Forest.
See, you know, these balls that we've gotten so excited about, the frozen ropes, just the bullets that he's thrown throughout the night here in this first half. And that one, if that one has a little bit more touch, just a tiny bit more air on it, then Thayer Thomas may have a big touchdown number 2. Tim Beck up there in the booth for the second week in a row. He went up last week against Texas Tech. You ever see that field, that defense a little bit better up there.
Big hole for Demi. Trey Wortham, Durante Jones brings him down after a gain of 11. It's hard to believe that NC State was the first and only Power 5 program to offer this kid a scholarship. And he was an unknown coming into this year, James. I mean, he was a non-factor last year as a freshman.
Just all of his action was on special teams.
Yeah. Delbert Mims into the game. Gets his number called immediately, picks up 4.
But one thing, and this is the second time that I've had an NC State game here this year, it's been really fun to watch. And Dave Doran, you couldn't have drawn it up any better. When you've got 2 running backs, running backs, you're a team player, but inside you want to do it all for your team. You got a little bit of that ego. You want to be successful. And when you have to sit on the sidelines and watch your partner do it, it makes you even hungrier. And it's very healthy to have good competition like they've got built around here now.
Corner Rooks brought down from behind by Malik Dixon Williams. That will set up 3rd down and about 4. Maybe closer to 3. NC State 4 of 5 on 3rd downs thus far.
You got to wait. Leary was ready to snap that football, but substitution. UConn had a chance to match. Almost jumping offside right there in the middle.
Yeah, it was Dalmont Gordine who kind of lost his stance but didn't touch anybody. He got back. 9th play of the drive here. Leary looking right, hits Devin Carter, shakes free of 1 tackle. Devin Carter to the end zone. But they're saying it's not a touchdown. Ruling him down at the half-yard line.
Leary, and just pitching and catching was such a big target. When you're 6'4", 215 pounds, you're able to wall off that defender and give your quarterback on that slant a nice target.
Now we're going to look at it.
Willie on the field, ball carrier stepped down prior to crossing the goal line. Previous play is under further review.
Well, you want to get it right. This is one of those situations, 1st and goal from the half-yard line. I think, you want to get it right, obviously, but we all know what the likely outcome of this possession is going to be.
Well, you know what, but hey, tell that to Jim Moore, and he'd come after you. You make him snap the ball, and a lot of crazy things can happen every single time you snap the ball. That's why it's so important to keep him in front. And gosh, I don't know that.
Looked like a touchdown.
Yeah, it absolutely did. And remember the pylon. Yeah, that's a touchdown. That's a touchdown. I mean, if there doesn't step out there, we know that foot isn't out. The knee comes down, but really on the goal line, and the ball was in front of the knee. And look at the fight in Devin Carter, showing you why Wolfpack fans have been calling for the big man to get the rock a little bit more.
One of the biggest games of his career, James, was last year against the Clemson Tigers. Double overtime, game-winning touchdown. And you alluded to it in the open. The Tigers, for Dabo Swinney, have some work to do on defense. It was one of the first things he said after the game. We got to get our defense figured out. And he said, "What we will." That's clearly a weakness of their team right now. And the question is, heading into next week, will the Wolfpack be able to capitalize on that the way Sam Hartman did today?
Yeah, right. I mean, it's, Wolfpack last year winning in double overtime. Clemson winning in double overtime on the road against Wake Forest today.
2 very different games, too, in terms of the number of points that were scored.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. The ball be placed at the half-yard line, 1st and goal.
And my point wasn't that we should say it's going to be a touchdown. My point was to be, we're going to stay, let's just play. Let's forget about the review, but we can move on.
Oh, okay.
NC State into the CPI red zone at the half-yard line. An opportunity perhaps for Delbert Mims III to get his 2nd career touchdown. No, back to the air. Leary to Carter for 6. Right back to DC.
It's fun to watch Tim Beck call a football game. It's fun because he throws in a lot of trick plays. It gives these defensive coordinators that are on the schedule in the future fits. They're staying up extra late, extra practice time to try to defend all these. But it's also, if you watch, he takes care of guys that kind of earn it. Hey, that Devin Carter, he should have had a touchdown right there. Hey, let's get it to him. I like this matchup right here. Let's get him the football. Let's let him score that touchdown. They do. It was like last week with the payoff with Sumo Kongbe. But how about it? All kinds of offense. Evan Lepler, 24-0. And the Wolfpack is rocking right now with 9:32 left in the first half.
ACC football is brought to you by your local Ford dealer. The Works Nitro, available at worksnitro.com. And Wrangler, for the ride of life.
All the talk about Wolves and Huskies. Did you know that Tuffy is actually a Tamascan? That is the type of breed of dog that Tuffy is. Because they can't breed wolves. So Tuffy's pretty close to a wolf. No one complains.
No, I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that. And Tuffy 3 is a wolf. Period. I didn't hear that. I wasn't listening.
I'm used to that. 24-0 NC State.
He's a very gentle wolf.
Colin Smith out for the kickoff. Devontae Houston, Victor Rosa back for the Huskies. But look, they had first downs on their first 2 plays from scrimmage. And they haven't really had a spark since. And it's because of the NC State defense. And for more on that, let's go to the sidelines to Laura.
Yes, that NC State defense has been on fire, especially last week. And a lot of that is due to our Hardy's star to watch, Peyton Wilson. He's finally back on the field and healthy after suffering a season-ending injury last year. Now, this is the second time this year that we're seeing Isaiah Moore, Peyton Wilson, and Drake Thomas able to play side by side in a game. I talked to Isaiah Moore earlier this week about Peyton and him being back. Last week, he had 3 tackles on his own, 7 assisted tackles, and it was incredible to watch that linebacking core work together. Isaiah said it's been a long time of us 3 playing all completely healthy. Almost 2 years. It was a great showing, and we're so extremely happy for Peyton and everything that he's been able to do. His rehab back, and he said after that game last week, guys, against Texas Tech, he has never seen a bigger smile on anyone's face than he saw on Peyton Wilson's face, and Dave Doran echoed that too. He's like, it's a heartwarming story. So excited to see those 3 guys playing back together.
It truly is special to see those 3 guys, and they've got a dynamic defense. New quarterback for UConn, Cale Millen, the son of Hugh Millen, who played with Jim Moore at the University of Washington and the NFL for a number of teams. Cale more of a running back, but not that play. Swarmed by the Wolfpack in the backfield for a loss of 2. It will be 3rd down and a dozen.
Yeah, hey, 10, hop in there and run for your life on both plays here. Here's good job by that Wolfpack defense. A couple of those linebackers that Lauren was just talking about. Yeah, now, those aren't gentle wolves. There's nothing nice about this defense. They're all mean and angry. Wolfpack. Here's a 3rd down and 12 with Turner back in there.
Yep, Zion in the gun. Jolly, the tight end, in motion. And pass to the left, but well short of the line to gain. Aaron Turner makes the catch, but here comes the UConn punt team.
Yeah, you can have that all day long. Peyton Wilson over there on that tackle. Hey, catch it in front of you. You guys got to go. You got about 12 yards to go. Sure, I'll let you have 3 or 4 yards and keep you in front and make the tackle get off the field.
I want to ask you about the dynamic of defensive depth. I mean, Jalen Scott has played a lot of snaps in the linebacking core too with Moore and Thomas and Wilson. How does that linebacker depth make this NC State team better?
Well, we got to take a break. They're telling me in the truck. And it's, hey, when you want to talk linebackers, Evan, we got all night. So let's take a break. I'll catch my breath, check my notes, and we'll talk linebackers when we come back to Raleigh.
Caleb Anthony shaking up. We'll be back. Caleb Anthony comes from a football family. His dad played in the CFL for the Baltimore Stallions back when they had Canadian Football League teams in Baltimore. Not the case anymore, but hopefully Caleb's going to be okay. It's a scary couple of weeks of injuries here. Well, these guys are not injured anymore, though. Knock on wood. Drake Thomas, Isaiah Moore, Peyton Wilson are Discover the Best, brought to you by the Fresh Market. Is now a good time to chat linebackers?
Yeah, there you go. And you got three of the best, one of the best linebacking groups in the nation. And one thing you asked me about was the depth even behind them. And so much these young guys are learning. Guys like Betty and Fordham. Caden Fordham is an outstanding young linebacker. Behind them, they're learning so much, and it's just such a competitive room when you got so many greats in there just want to fight to get to the football. And there are a couple of them sit right there, and Isaiah Moore and Drake Thomas. Isaiah Moore has done so much for this university on and off of the field with his Pack United. So it's the residual effect will carry over not just for young linebackers on the field, but for so many here in this Raleigh community.
It's Delbert Mims III in for Demi Sumo Karnbe. And let's check in with Lauren on the sideline about DSK. Lauren.
Thanks so much, Ev. Yeah, I just received word from NC State that Demi Sumo Karnbe out with upper body injury right now. His return to the game is questionable. That could be a big blow for the Wolfpack running game, already missing Jordan Houston tonight.
And that's a major yikes if you're thinking long term, and hopefully just a precautionary thing for Dave Doran and Tim Beck to pull Demi out of the game for now. A bullet hauled in by Thayer Thomas for a Wolfpack first down.
Yeah, and back to Sumo Karnbe. Wow, let's hope that it's just a stinger or something like that, because Jordan Houston, who took the knee to the head, concussion protocol, so he's out against Texas Tech. He left the game. There he is.
I know you gave us your keys to the game earlier, and those are sponsored, and big bucks go into your keys to the game. My keys to the game for the Wolfpack tonight, in my mind, I thought they need to get the perimeter receivers going. That's off the hands of Anthony Smith downfield. And perhaps even more importantly, I thought they had to stay healthy. That was the #1 key coming into tonight, with next week being what it is.
Yeah, isn't that the ongoing theme in all college football? It takes a little bit of luck, and it takes keeping a healthy group, and that's where depth again comes in. And right here, Smith, I mean, you want to take that next step and be one of the top programs in college football. You got a chance. You got the players, the pieces. You got to catch those balls.
Coyote Oladele rips down Delbert Mims after a gain of 6.
So as of now, it looks like it'll be what, last week was a Sumo Karnbe Jordan Houston show. Has now become a DeMarcus Jones, Delbert Mims, 2 sophomores.
That's why you have over 100 players on the roster.
Yeah. Doesn't Jim Mora know that?
A little bit of a late hit there, Durante Jones, but it will be a first down for Julian Gray. You got a lot of guys on the perimeter. Carter, Lassane, and Thomas in the slot start. We've seen Jones and Smith. We've seen Gray. We've seen Brooks.
And when you've got so many weapons that you're staring across the ball at Jim Mora's defense, it's tough, because we've seen a couple easy conversions on 3rd down with these passes. These players like Gray right there, just hooking up right at the sticks, connect, move those chains with the soft coverage. But you play too tight, they're going to run by you.
Mims will be spotted right at the 45-yard line, picks up about 3. Delbert Mims has been a long-time Wolfpack standout on special teams. There was a note that he played 261 special team snaps last season, just to quantify his importance to those units.
And a unit that has been so important here in Raleigh. Mentioned him earlier, the special teams coach, Todd Gogol, has done a fantastic job. Jackson White helping one of the assistants there with the special teams, too. They got him going.
Darryl Jones made one man miss, not another.
One thing I will say about these corners, when you flip on that Michigan tape from last week of UConn, at times it was like, well, why are they even lining up out there? Because those wide receivers from Michigan, and they're not world beaters, but they were just gobbling them up. It's, it takes a whole lot of want to. Who wants it more? Do you want to block me more than I want to get off the block and go make a tackle? And there wasn't a lot of want to on the perimeter defensively for UConn. That's why Michigan is just a track meet at times. But they have done a better job of shedding blocks today.
Leary zips it into the red zone. Carter brought down at the 14. 23 yards to DC.
A 22-yard gain. And another Wolfpack.
Again, look at that pocket. He's got all the time he needs, and he's got that great big target in Devin Carter. And you saw the body language, the energy when he popped up. Running into Malcolm Bell is like, you're getting in the way of my flex, dude.
Leary under pressure, able to get rid of it, and there's a flag downfield.
Wow.
This is not for grounding. This is for something in the secondary.
Wow. Because, you talk about a bailout. That ball was just thrown to be incomplete and live to play another down, but it might be.
And if ever a ball was uncatchable, but this could be holding, and that's not a factor in that situation unless he had already released the ball before the hold. And now they throw another flag in the backfield.
Intentional grounding.
Wow.
Offense. Holding. Number 7. Defense. Those penalties all set. Replay the down.
So they'll say
schoolyard do-over.
do-over it. Yeah, so not outside the tackle box. He's got to be outside the tackle box. That obviously goes well beyond the line of scrimmage. And there's the holding flag at the end, too.
Can it be defensive holding on a ball when the violation occurs when the ball's in the air, though, is my question. We'll move on. Carter picks up 9 more.
And I hope Carter, I hope he's had a lot of water, because he's flexing so much he's going to cramp up. After every catch, he pops up and fires up the guns, man. He's fired up to be involved like this tonight.
Down at the 1, DeMarcus Jones, the second.
Gain of 5 yards. And another Wolfpack. First down.
NC State's offense looked good. 4 drives so far, 3 touchdowns and a field goal. This the 5th drive of the game. They need 2 more yards. Leary to the end zone. Lesane hung on for the touchdown. Play the fight song again here in Raleigh.
And light some fireworks while you're at it. Turn the lights off and on. Where's that switch at? Lesane, Tim Beck, and Devin Leary have made it a point to get it to number 15 here tonight. Lesane on the brain. Lesane in the membrane.
It's his 5th catch. His first touchdown of the night and of the season. And of his career. So a moment that Keon Lesane will never forget. And James, you want to sing a little bit more on our way to break?
You want more Cypress Hill? Well, it's the Funkalistic. Yes, look at it, looking good. Nice going up tall and pulling it down. It's 31-0 Wolfpack.
Good times for Wolfpack Nation. 2:53 left in the half. 31-0. 11 plays, 71 yards on that last drive. Brought to you by
Yellowwood. Shoot, I thought Wormy was the only one made me read this card like the head ball coach. Okay, our 5-star drive summary. Here you go, by Yellowwood. And it's capped off with the Keon Lesane touchdown reception. His 5th catch of the night.
the contract I signed to keep Tom Seat warm demanded that I give you that card. I didn't want to test that contract. Timeout with the Huskies down by 31.
Back here at Carter-Finley Stadium, NC State up 31-0. Now, because absolutely no one asked, I thought I would give us a little history lesson on the similarities and differences, guys, of Wolves versus Huskies. First of all, the Wolf is worldwide. The Husky is just North America and Eurasia. You talk about the Husky, 21 to 23.5 inches tall. Wolves, 26 to 33 inches tall. The lifespan of a Husky, 12 to 15 years. The lifespan of a Wolf, 6 to 8 years. Pretty crazy. Let's talk about the eyes for a second. Blue, brown, or black eyes for a Husky. You got yellow, amber, or brown for a Wolf. Body type, shorter muzzle, leaner bodies for a Husky. Longer muzzle, thicker bodies for a Wolf. And guess what? We all like to talk about the teeth because they're both beautiful dogs, right? Huskies, shorter teeth. Wolves, longer teeth. And then the temperament, Huskies, domesticated, easily trained. That's probably why we see them as a household animal. When you look at wolves, they're wild and they're resisting training. So the differences and similarities between a wolf and a Husky. There you guys go, because no one asked, but everyone loves to hear it anyways.
Well, you know what? You could have saved a lot of time, Lauren, by just saying Wolves 31, Huskies 0.
We appreciate the zoology report.
I was trying to give the in-depth report, guys.
No,
Come on now.
I like it. I like it, but I think we could have helped him out a little bit by showing something other than the Westminster Dog Show Husky. You know, that was the contrast right there. You've got that mean wolf out in the snow. I did take notes. I'm gonna give everybody a quiz here later.
I expect a full report back later tonight. Okay.
All right.
That was phenomenal. A+, Lauren.
Thanks,
A+. Your Michigan professors would be very proud. All those science classes you took. Zion Turner. Feels like we haven't talked about him in a while because the Huskies, after a couple promising plays on their first drive, have not done much offensively since.
Third down and short.
I mean, Turner has not thrown an incompletion yet in the game. He's 4 for 4 for 20 yards. He had 11 yards on his first throw. And, well, right on cue. Incomplete pass. And a little scuffle in the middle of the field. Tempers flaring here in Raleigh. Christian Haynes, the right guard, in the thick of it. And a familiar phrase tonight, unfortunately for UConn, here comes the punt team.
Yeah, well, and you know, maybe fortunately for UConn that Shaheem Battle didn't cut underneath that one. Looked like he was going to give it a chance and maybe have an opportunity to pick one in a football team that's, man, they've been doing a great job of intercepting footballs. So lucky to punt this one away to a very dangerous return man, as we all know.
NC State with an interception, 8 straight games. They get a pick tonight, it'll set a record for the most straight games in NC State history with a pick. 48-yard punt that time from Caratan. NC State will begin its 6th possession, up by 31, $1:54 on the second quarter clock.
Opportunities right here. Yeah, you're up 31-0. You're in complete control. How much time on the clock? Under 2 minutes. How many times do you get an opportunity when you're full metal jacket, all geared up, to go a 2-minute offense? Yeah, you can run it in practice all you want, but these opportunities, 0 waste. Again, that's the ongoing theme, and it'll be interesting to see if there's a little bit of sense of urgency in moving it around here.
Another fastball from Devin Leary, hitting Devin Carter on the outside.
Injured Husky.
And Eric Watts, who sacked Leary earlier in the half.
You know, you think about it too, is I'll bet you Jim Mora feels right at home. You know, he was a Husky in his college days.
That's right.
Husky on the other side of the country. Washington Huskies. It's this, the way they're working that toe back, I'm guessing, hoping it's just a cramp here for Eric Watts, the junior out of Sumter, South Carolina. Hey, Lauren, the howl that we just heard, was that a Husky or a wolf? Guess it could be either, because, you know, the Huskies, you see a lot of those social media videos. The Huskies, they like to howl too. Which one was that?
Honestly, that was a wolf howl, gentlemen. That was a hardcore 100% wolf howl. And I know I am like the zoology expert at this point. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I was a meteorologist. This week, I'm all about the animals in the zoo. So that was a wolf. That was a wolf howl for y'all.
Thank you.
Never a doubt that Lauren would have the answer to that one. Darryl Jones makes his 4th catch. 25 completions in the first half for Devin Leary. He's 25 for 30. Just shy of 300 yards. He's got a 3rd and 2 here. It's Mims up the middle for the first down.
And Delbert Mims looking very Demi Sumo Kongbe-like. Boom, keeping those legs turning, spinning that body and moving north and south, getting what you can.
Back to the air, and Leary overthrows his target down the sideline. Darryl Jones, Wortham there in coverage for the Huskies.
Nice job by Wortham, stride for stride right there in the hip pocket of the intended target.
So, James, let me ask you this. What has impressed you most about what we've seen from NC State in the first 29 minutes?
Well, I like to watch their offensive line, the athleticism and the strength, the big bodies that get up and run, very athletic, and they play together as a group. You hate to see a few of the little pre-snap penalties. Great to see Devin Carter back. And the intermediate routes.
The pressure coming, interception. Boyer-Randall has it for UConn. Brandon Boyer-Randall out of bounds near the 11-yard line. So UConn may be able to get on the board before the break.
And I'll admit it, I was just about to say it. He throws right here, and he throws one right to Boyer-Randall, who's a Texas Tech transfer, doing it for his homies from last week. They got beat. He's trying to help them out still a little bit. Oski, and look at the guys blocking downfield, but reading those eyes of Leary. Man, he's had some big plays over the last couple weeks against some big-time talented teams. Against Michigan, he had a sack in the first and second quarter, and here he's got his offense set up. Get some points before halftime, perhaps.
It's been a while since UConn has scored. Will it happen here? Not that play. Aaron Turner takes the ball to the 7. Clock ticking, 35 seconds in the quarter, and now a timeout called from the sideline by Jim Mora.
You could see the way Drake Thomas, well, this is a defense that has been really good in so many phases, but the sudden change, when they pop up, they're not expecting to pop up right then after a turnover. They've done their job here for the most part this season. Drake Thomas out there flying around, trying to keep him out of the end zone. And here's one more look at that interception.
See Boyer-Randall backing into coverage. And it's like he was the intended target.
Yeah, dropping in that zone between two receivers, and you had two receivers that were running right into each other in the same plane. That makes it easy for a defense and draws a lot of defenders in that same area.
Zion Turner, the freshman, gets drilled, and he lost the football. His right tackle, Chase Lunt, was there to pounce on him, but it's a big loss, setting up 3rd down and long.
Now, Devin Leary may have a little bit more time here tonight, but when it's time to go, you better tuck it and get out of there, because these guys are coming from somewhere. And the young freshman quarterback, Zion Turner, needs to understand that. That clock in his head, lucky to get this one back after he fumbles it. An excellent job being around that football to keep it there in UConn's hands.
First sack of the season for Davin Vann, the former state champion as a heavyweight wrestler at Cary High School just down the road. Don't ever get into an altercation with Dad, okay, James?
No, don't worry.
I know you had some physicality to you as well, but this guy's a state champion.
Yeah, not wrestling type stuff. Those guys are another level right there. Here you go, Sweet. The third down now.
They need to get to the 1. Devontae Houston makes it to the 10 before he's brought down by a bunch of Wolfpack defenders. Picks up 7. Now, do you want points, or do you want to go for the touchdown?
It'd be nice to get that 0 off the board, and I think that's what Jim Moore is doing. He's just letting that clock run down, and he'll send out that field goal unit. He doesn't want to. Last week, that it looked pretty ugly with that 59-0 on your side. I mean, if you know, but then again, you know, are you kind of conceding and telling your team, hey, let's just kind of hang around?
Noe Rulis hit a couple of long field goals in the elevation in Logan, Utah, and I don't mean to bring up the elevation to indicate he doesn't have a long leg. He does. He kicked a 56-yarder in high school. Rulis, a sophomore kicker for the Huskies, will set up for what will likely be the final play of the half. 28-yard attempt. The punter, George Carrington, is the holder. Can UConn get on the board? Yes, they can. So the interception from Brandon Boyer-Randall sets up the Rulis 28-yard field goal. And I don't want to say the Huskies go into the locker room with any momentum, but at least they've scored. They've scored most recently, and they will get the ball to start the second half.
And again, they got that 0 off the board, which doesn't feel good ever for a football team, for an offense especially. And so that's the place to start anyway. Just chip away at it. And let's hope that a couple of those guys that were banged up in the first half are okay. We'll be able to come back in this one here tonight, because we saw some key players. Demi Sumo-Kongbe, most notably, for NC State. Not sure we'll see him again, as Lauren reported earlier, though.
357 total yards in the half for the Wolfpack. They lead by 28. Lauren Jabara has Dave Doran.
Thanks so much, Coach. You look at this first half. I know you said this week you want to increase explosive plays, limit penalties. Just your thoughts here on the first half.
Yeah, I mean, we're playing catch pretty good. It's good to see the guys making contact catches. Devin Carter's made some good plays. It's good to see Keon get a touchdown. Defense has done a great job, you know. I mean, other than that last interception on offense, it's been a good half.
Yeah, speaking of the offense, Devin Leary, 25 of 32, almost 300 yards in that first half. Just your thoughts on him and what he's been able to do to get the offense going.
Well, he started fast with the big play to Thayer. You know, I mean, he was disappointed in himself last week. We expected to see him play better, and we needed the guys to play better for him. So far, so good.
Coach, good luck second half.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thanks, Lauren. NC State halfway to its 13th consecutive home win. And next Saturday, they'll try to snap the nation's longest home winning streak. Clemson has won 36 in a row in Death Valley. And after the fourth quarter tonight, that'll be an interesting conversation over the next 7 days. Wolfpack, 31-3.
Life is for learning, and that doesn't stop with graduation. A great university goes far beyond campus. It allows you to see the big picture. A great university gives you tools, community, partnership, a launch pad. You don't just go to NC State University. You take us with you. NC State. Think and do.
Welcome back to Raleigh for our Toyota halftime report, with a Wolfpack in front of the Huskies 31-3. NC State looking every bit like a top 15, maybe a top 10 team when the new poll comes out tomorrow. A top 10 matchup perhaps in Death Valley next Saturday. Clemson escaped in Winston-Salem. They're still undefeated. Dave Doran's Wolfpack Still with some work to do, but in a pretty good position. When we come back, we'll continue our Driven series with Dave Doran as he'll discuss what's next for the Wolfpack. Stay with us.
ACC football is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina and Yellowwood. If it doesn't have this yellow tag, you don't want it. This is Driven. Dave Dorn, presented by your local Toyota dealers.
Can you believe that 10 years have gone by?
No.
Because we remember you came into the league, and you know, let's establish more tradition here at NC State, and here you are a decade later.
Yeah, unfortunate. You know, I think in this profession, I think I'm 8th in longevity now in the sport for the college football landscape, 2nd in the school history. So feel very fortunate to have that opportunity and thankful that NC State wanted me to stay that long. And it's a great place to live, and the people are phenomenal. And we want to bring something to this fan base that they haven't had in 42 years. So the mission isn't accomplished yet, and hopefully this is the year that we can get that done.
Your longevity, your success, what does it say about the environment in Raleigh, North Carolina and NC State?
The culture is really good, and it's not just in the locker room. We're the only staff that had all 10 assistants return. We had very few players leave our roster in the offseason, and a lot of players return that didn't have to. So it's a good place to work. It's a good place to play, and our fans have done a tremendous job supporting the student athletes. So game day is something that's unique for us right now.
Tell me how last year was sort of a validation moment, perhaps, with all the great success you had and the win against Clemson and everything, where we've been working so hard for this, and we finally were able to achieve something like that.
Yeah, you know, I think there were some milestones met last year, being undefeated at home, first time in 35 years, beating UNC, Florida State, Clemson, and Louisville all in the same season. That hadn't happened in school history. And, you know, coming up with a way to finally win that game against Clemson, a great team. Dabo and his staff and their team has been the gold standard, you know, and we've had some great games but haven't gotten it done. So getting over the hump there was a huge thing for our team's psyche, I think.
Do you like the fact that a lot of people are talking NC State football based on what you did last year and the expectations for this season, or would you rather just do your own thing?
Yeah, we're going to use that as a coach. Like, if you think we stink, then we're going to use that. But we have high expectations every year. Like, you know, we don't go in the team room and say, guys, we're going 8-5 this year, you know. Like,
which is good. I mean,
no, we go in there and say, let's go win every game, you know, and let's try to win this thing. And that hasn't changed. It's just now the public thinks that we can do it. So we got to get it done. We haven't won it yet. It's fun to be in this position. We're excited about the opportunity. We also know that none of those things you guys say about us equal wins, and we got to earn it.
Driven, Dave Dorn, is presented by your local Toyota dealers. The all-new 2022 Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. Visit your local Toyota dealers today. Toyota, let's go places.
Next Saturday night, Virginia takes the trip to Durham. Mike Elko's Blue Devils suffering their first loss of the season out in Lawrence, Kansas today, but still an impressive start for Duke. And what a comeback for Virginia last night, ultimately all for naught, as Dino Babers from Syracuse got the game-winning field goal to win 22-20. But looking forward to that primetime showdown next Saturday night. Here in Raleigh this evening, it's 31-3. The 12th-ranked Wolfpack are in control, and we are back in the booth. James Bates, I'm Evan Lepler. Certainly some coachable moments for Dave Doran and his staff, but all things considered, a pretty good tune-up for what's ahead.
Yeah, I would say. And you know, when you say, hey, Devin Leary throwing that interception, that can get corrected. And, you know, and Devin will be the first one to say, that's on me. A couple of those pre-snap penalties, let's get rid of those. And just a handful of penalties, none for UConn there in the first half. UConn, on the other hand, first down on the first two plays of the game offensively. Hey, this could be quite a night, but they haven't had a first down since then, Evan, and they're 0 for 6 on third down. Whereas NC State, they've been able to stay on the field 6 of 7 third down conversions.
NC State has scored on every possession except for the last one that ended in a Devin Leary interception. But all things considered, it was a pretty darn good half for Devin Leary as he threw the ball all over the field, spreading it around to all of his targets, and they made plays.
It's 7 different receivers. Here's the first receiver on the first throw of the night. He's really good at a back shoulder throw. This one a little underthrown ball for Thayer Thomas to come back to 75 yards later. He's in the end zone. Devin Carter, we called for him to get involved tonight. He did. Didn't score on that one, but he did on the very next play after the review. And 88's been flexing all night long, and that makes for a happy Wolfpack Nation, a happy Devin Leary. And Lassane in the membrane in the back corner. He had 5 or 6 catches in the first half as well. 7 different receivers catching a ball from Devin Leary. I'll make that 8 because an interception there towards the end of the half to give UConn 3 points on the field goal as time expired.
Yeah, that was not a completed pass to his teammate, so it goes as an incomplete pass, even though it was caught. The state of North Carolina has had a great month of September with Wake Forest, Duke, UNC, and State all starting 3-0. Tar Heels, Blue Devils, Deacons all lost today. NC State trying to remain undefeated. How has today shifted your thoughts on the landscape in this state right now?
Well, I think that this is going to be just one wacky season, and teams like NC State, they need to just kind of hope that they can just hold on and stay above all of the wackiness. And then Clemson able to hang on, and boy, is that going to be a heck of a matchup. But Duke coming back on a fiery Kansas squad. They've got so much energy there in Lawrence, Kansas. They're winning football games, and it feels good for them.
No miracle on the mountain today.
No, there wasn't. In North Carolina trying to get it done against Notre Dame, but falling short as well. But hey, there's one team in town that's looking pretty good. Thayer Thomas is leading the charge. 75 yards to start this thing. It's 31-3.
Another sellout on a Saturday night at Carter-Finley Stadium as we get set for the start of the third quarter. Quick look at the first half stats brought to you by IHOP.
We go Pancake House. There you go, third downs, 0 for 6. As I mentioned earlier, UConn needing to stay on the field, 6 of 7 for the NC State Wolfpack. Devin Leary and company, he's able to distribute that football, move those chains. 0 penalties for one of the least penalized teams in the nation. Top 20 when it comes to fewest flags, just 39 penalty yards a game. Jim Mora's team is averaging.
It is interesting. They did have a flag thrown on them, but it was an offsetting flag, so it doesn't show up on the graphic. Not the way they wanted to start the second half, though. Victor Rosa barely makes it to the 10. No more pads for Demi Sumo Carve. Let's just hope that is precautionary, and he'll be good to go next week. But I got to imagine that'll be one of the first things the media wants to ask Dave Doran about after tonight's game.
Yeah, absolutely. And, one thing that everybody should be talking about here for the rest of the season, if they continue to play special teams like we just saw right here. Here comes UConn trying to get something going, but they're starting way down near their own goal line. Is just the effort by the special teams. When you have a special teams crew that's competing to be on the field and contribute like they are right now at NC State, it's a sign of a well-coached team and a good, exactly what you want in that locker room.
It was really important last week against Texas Tech. The average starting field position for the Wolfpack last week was at the 38.5. The average starting field position for the Red Raiders was at the 22. Dave Doran said after the game, our special teams were dominant.
Yeah, and it just makes that defense even hungrier. When you're sitting there, you can look right at their back is to their own end zone. It just encourages them to pin their ears back and pin that offense deep. Short gain on first down here.
A couple yards for Devontae Houston. He's to the right of Turner again. Turner was looking that way. Now pushed to his left by Durden. And ushered out of bounds by the NC State defender, Jakeem Harris.
Guy in Zion Turner talking with Jim Mora this week and his offensive coordinator, Nick Charlton. They were talking before going to UConn.
Zion Turner, and this is Pop Warner days on, only lost 4 games, his dad was telling the coaching staff, in his entire life.
And he was 37-2 as a high school starter, 3-year starter for a great St. Thomas Aquinas program down in the Sunshine State. Played his home games at Ryan Piccolo Memorial Stadium, but he's not at Piccolo Stadium anymore.
And here he gets a completion, but waiting on it, like Devin Van down there doing an excellent job of just trying to snuff that one out. Was there ready to drop the receiver and dropping him for a loss, and now punting out of their own end zone is UConn.
George Caratan to kick it away to Thayer Thomas. Pressure coming, and he shanked it off the side of his foot and out of bounds. NC State will have it near their Husky 30-yard line. It'll be spotted at the 32. 22-yard punt. Did they get a piece of it, or did he just shank it?
I think he just shanked it. They've been coming after it, and he's had no problem. The transfer from Arkansas. We've seen a couple boomers from him here tonight. He's had plenty of opportunities. At 9 punts against Michigan. And this one helps out an offense that certainly hasn't needed much help. Been able to drive the football up and down the field.
You were wondering, would we see Devin Leary in the second half? The answer to that is yes. Keon Lassane in motion to give to DeMarcus Jones. And Jones spun down after a gain of 7.
Watch the big man on the left, big 74, the tackle, Anthony Belton. I mean, this 330-pounder getting up and moving like that. I mean, that's quite a guy paving the way for you if you're a running back.
Going after the nation's leading tackler, by the way, who still made the tackle to help finish off Jones on the play. Marcus loses one there. Again, Jackson Mitchell. I mean, back in 2019, he was 3rd in the nation among true freshmen in tackles. He's had double-digit tackles 3 times in the first 4 games for the Huskies this year. Jim Mora loves talking about this guy.
Oh, yeah.
Loves football, studies hard, all the things that you could say about a young, aggressive linebacker.
Well, that right hand taped up because he's playing with a screw in his hand.
Yeah.
The doctor said maybe he shouldn't play, and he wasn't trying to hear that.
Well, it's because linebackers are the toughest guys on the football field, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry, what was that? You were breaking up on me.
Linebackers.
I got you. Yeah, I would like to think so, but every other position, I think, even the receivers, maybe even some punters here and there would argue otherwise. But yeah, it's a fun position to watch, that's for sure. And especially when you've got good defensive line play in front of them, which they certainly have at NC State, and Jackson Mitchell's had some good help too.
After the completion to Thomas, now looking to Thayer in the end zone, but that's well defended by Dixon Williams. 5 catches, 115 yards for Thayer Thomas. Let's go down to Lauren for more on Jackson Mitchell.
Thanks. Yeah, I talked to him this week, guys, and asked him about being the country's leading tackler. He said, it's not something I focus on. I'm just going out there and doing my job. But his dad was actually his coach his entire life. He said he tried out football in 3rd grade, fell in love with it, been playing ever since. His dad played at Hofstra when they had a team. He coached me since I was 3rd grade all the way up to high school, helped me fall in love with it. And even when he stopped coaching me, guys, he was still pushing me every day and helped me get to this collegiate level right now. So really cool seeing that awesome bond between him and his father, and how he's helped him get to where he is today.
Yeah, his family, they've got to be so proud of him. So much fun to watch your kids go out there and compete. And it's, I've got a dad that never really coached me, but he was a long-time college coach, NFL coach. And, when he knew I wanted to be a linebacker, he used to make sure he would tell me, hey, when you watch these games, don't just watch the ball. Watch these great linebackers. Watch them all the time. Watch what they do. And it's easy to do when you've got great linebackers playing like Jackson Mitchell.
3rd down and 4. Leary to the end zone off the hands of Jones. Here comes the field goal unit for NC State.
A couple, and Larry's got a lot of completions, but a couple right on target, right through the hands. That's a catchable ball. We saw a couple earlier in the game, and there haven't been many misses, but there have been a couple drops and a couple of these big plays that you'd like to see starting to come together.
Oh, it's a fake, flipping it to Dunn, and he's not going to get there. Trying to give the grad student kicker his moment. Dave Doran, Tim Beck pulling out the deep end of the playbook there.
Okay, the score's 31-3. Okay, they don't. There's not the sense of urgency. Hey, if we don't do something drastic, we're going to lose this football game. Right now, it certainly doesn't feel that way, obviously. But what this does, what the reverse does earlier that we saw called by Tim Beck, what the Thayer Thomas throwing the football twice in the game last week and many times in his career, what that does for a defense next week, Clemson, down the road, is they have to spend time on all these. They have to bring them in, coach their guys up on them. Hey, we've got to watch out for this. So it's giving fits to a lot of these defenses that they're about to see, all these trick plays that they throw out there for them, just to put it on tape and get them thinking about it.
If that had worked, Timmy Trumpet would have been blasting for 45 minutes here at Carter-Finley. It would have felt like Citi Field in the 9th in Queens. Goodness.
There's Tim Beck up there. Mentioned earlier, just recently decided to head back up to the booth. It's, you know, the benefits. You can see that defense. Wow, look at it fly around right there. There's Drake Thomas.
Jalen Scott as well brings down Deshaun Harrison.
There you go, 32. Don't get up there and all that junk. Young guys, sometimes they get caught up in some of the big guys. Hey, just have a good feel for it. Where's the opening? Boom. Proper angle, inside out, and just lighten them up when you get there. It's a thing of beauty. Yes, linebackers are very tough, Evan. To answer your question from earlier, they're the toughest.
Can the Huskies be tough and convert a third down? They're 0 for 7. The freshman quarterback, Turner. Plenty of time. Taken off. Met by Peyton Wilson. Good night. Peyton Wilson's brother, obviously an established major league pitcher. Talented one. We asked Peyton if he played baseball. He said, I'm too hyper. You may notice that about me. My parents took me out of baseball in 5th grade. Lacrosse was more my sport. You got to hit people.
Well, even last week, you watched that Texas Tech game, and there were a couple times it looked like Texas Tech might be able to pick up a big third down conversion. But Peyton Wilson, as big as he is, in open field, he's just money. Textbook open field tackle.
Nowhere to go for Thayer Thomas on the return. 34-yard punt for Carrington. 7:55 in the third. 31-3. Devin Carter, only 4 catches in the first 3 games, but he's come onto the scene tonight. 5 for 63. He's built tough. Brought to you by Wrangler. Receivers can be tough too, James.
Yeah, they absolutely can. Big 88 banging around there, refusing to go down. Not only did he get the third down, but got it down near the goal line on that one. Very tough, and then a nice tough catch to finish it off and to score tonight.
Leary remains in the game. And his 28th completion of the game hits Chris Tootle's 8th different target. Tootle keeps his streak going, at least 1 catch in every game this year.
You know, the one thing too is, as you look at and you pick apart what this offense does well, what they lack a little bit is you'd like to see someone that the defense fears. They're always going to run by you. At any time they can go blowing by you.
Into the flat, Mims.
You know, Evan, so to have that one, you know, that Thayer Thomas had a nice 75-yard touchdown completion, but that's some crafty running after the back shoulder throw. But to have that burner, it just scares everybody on the defensive side, and that defensive coordinator has to account for and to keep a lid on him is one piece to this puzzle that really would help to take them to take that next step.
On second down, Mims will move the chains. It's the 21st first down of the night for NC State. We've looked at next week's matchup with the Clemson Tigers through the lens of NC State's offense versus Clemson's struggling D. What about the other side? DJU looked pretty good today for Clemson. They put up 51 and win on the road against an improved Deacon defense. How do you handicap Clemson over versus NC State's dynamic D?
Yeah, he looked really good, and Shipley runs with so much heart.
Sure does.
It's a nice open field tackle, and yeah, one thing that I can't wait to watch is the matchup of how many times do you see Uiagalelei tuck the ball and go, and you know, and you know, I mean, he's not leaving everybody on defense, but he can move well enough to move those chains and to buy himself some time. I can't wait to see Peyton Wilson, because he's matched up with those quarterbacks so much. I can't wait to see. That's going to be a big train wreck when those two collide a couple times next weekend.
Leary across the middle again inside the 20. By the way, in the previous play, Michael Allen with his first reception of the season. Mims picks up 5 here. It's 3rd and short from the 19.
With the hurry up.
Back to Mims. And he didn't gain much, but he didn't need much. And he'll be the 22nd first down for NC State. Time of possession, like most other stats, are lopsided in NC State's favor. There's DJ's numbers today in Winston-Salem, Truist Field. And the play of the game might have been the 2-point conversion when he was nearly wrapped up, but still got it away to tie the game. Of course, both teams scored multiple touchdowns after that. But
phenomenal. 5 touchdown passes for him, 6 for Hartman. I don't think there were any interceptions thrown in that game by either team.
There were not. Leary to the end zone. Great play. Dixon Williams broke it up. A flag is down here in the CPI security red zone. And we'll check the marker.
Personal foul. Illegal hands to the face. Number 37, defense. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Defensive lineman, Coyote Oladelli, the guilty party.
There he is, left side of your screen. And
yep.
Yeah, it's, you know, and that's tough sometimes. You just got to grab what you can. Unfortunately, he grabs the face mask there. And nice defensive play. Dixon Williams. And a step on him on the route, was able to make up the speed and knock it away. And it's tied for second on the team in tackles. 28 coming in.
That's the first accepted penalty today against UConn. Half the distance to the goal. Setting up Mims to the 5, to the 4. Sat on from behind by big Delmont Gordine. And Grant Gibson shaken up. The veteran center, his 40th straight start, his 53rd career game.
He snapped that ball and he got up and pulled in front of Mims, and Mims actually gives him a little bit of a push, trying to get some space. And gosh, hopefully the big man's okay, Evan. 6 foot, 310-pound center, big time.
Well, the good news is Grant Gibson walked off the field. The bad news is he walked gingerly.
No, the good news is, see that guy, that guy, that guy, that guy, they're all smiling. That's really good news. That's because true. Otherwise they'd all be frowning. And it looked too, when you say gingerly, it looked almost like he might have gotten the wind knocked out of him. You know, he landed on his belly there as he went down. And that is huge news that he was able to get off on his own.
So We've seen Demi Sumo Karngbe suffer some sort of an injury. His questionable return didn't come up for the second half of pads. Grant Gibson getting some attention. Here's Devin Leary back to the air. Touchdown, Wolfpack. His 4th TD pass of the night, tying a career high. Four-yard strike to number 4, Porter Rooks.
With the new center in there, big man is Dylan McMahon. Nice clean snap, nice clean pocket, and just too easy to pitch and catch there. Porter Rooks, too much space there down near the goal line, back of the end zone. Zips it in, nice pitch and catch, and it's 37-3.
No trickeration on the extra point with Christopher Dunn out there. Got to imagine the coaching staff, but we gave you your one chance to rush the ball, and it didn't work out. This play worked for Devin Leary. His 4th touchdown pass to extend the NC State lead here in the 3rd.
Welcome back to Carter-Finley Stadium. The Wolfpack up 38-3. Now let's talk for a second about UConn Huskies head coach Jim Mora. He's had himself quite a coaching career, NFL assistant for 17 seasons. The Chargers, the Saints, and the 49ers then progressed to the Atlanta Falcons as their head coach. You see him there with Mike Vick. After that, he makes his way all the way to the West Coast, Best Coast, Seattle Seahawks head coach in 2009, taking over from Mike Holmgren, and then UCLA head coach from 2012 to 2017. Right after that, he was named the head coach for UConn's 35th in school history on November 11th, 2021. And he's still here to this day. Now, we talked to him a little bit earlier this week, and he said, deep down, I always knew I wanted to coach. Part of me thought I was going to be in sports administration, though. So when I graduated from the University of Washington, I was accepted into USC's sports admin program. Then I was hired to be a graduate assistant coach at USC so I could coach and get my graduate degree at the same time. Then a few weeks later, got the call from Don Coryell, asked him to come back to the Chargers, was going to spend half his time in the front office, half his time coaching. It ended up spending 0 time in the front office, 100% of his time coaching, but he said he has fond memories growing up with his dad, watching film. It was the 8mm film back in the day, and was at practice as often as he could from 6 years old at Stanford and the University of Colorado, University of Washington, but he's always loved being around the game. It was always what he wanted to do. He said, it's the only thing I've ever done. You could count the construction working that he did over the summers as another job, but he said, other than that, it's only been football my whole life, and it's awesome to see the progression of his career and where he's at now. Now he comes into this UConn program and wants to turn them around. A really great head force for this UConn Huskies team.
Absolutely, Lauren. And with a resume like that, I'll guarantee you that even on those work sites when he was working construction, that he would take out that carpenter pencil and draw ball plays on 2x4s. I mean, that is coaching in the blood right there. And he actually got a little bit more than he bargained for this year, as he's the defensive coordinator as well.
Quick pass to Devontae Houston. James Bates, what's it like being a kid watching film with Dad?
Well, it's, you know, it's funny you asked that because it hit home. Because my dad used to, I remember back when he was at Texas Tech, in those, just like he said, those 8mm films, my dad would be watching recruiting films or watching his defense at home, and he'd come and wake me up, get me out of bed to show me something. And James, come here and watch this guy. Come here and watch this guy. And I'll let this play go.
Turner reaches for the 33.
Fighting, trying to get another first down. But my dad, for many that don't know, was a longtime defensive coordinator in the NFL and coached it in college a lot. But I'll never forget one time he came in and woke me up in my bedroom because he wanted to show me it was a cheerleader standing on a guy's shoulders, and then this guy went running out of bounds and just blew it all up. And hopefully she was all right. And he had to wake me up to show me that on his game tape. Big stuff.
Victor Rosa runs into a crowd. So, James, I have a 4-year-old daughter, and I know that 4-year-olds ask a lot of questions. Were you a kid that asked your dad a lot of questions as he watched film? Were you annoying, tagging along?
You know, one thing I will say, and one thing that whether I ask the questions or not, one thing that a lot of people think having your dad as a coach, you're immediately a student of the game. And that certainly helps being around it, but being around professionals at the college level and professionals in the NFL, guys like Mike Johnson, a linebacker up at Cleveland, and Clay Matthews, just Frank Minifield, just taught me so much.
That's much better punt there from Caratan. He boomed that one. It'll be down at the 25-yard line. Devin Leary, see whether he comes back onto the field after this message from Wrangler.
It's in all of us, the courage to go all in. Wrangler, for the ride of love.
Devin Leary getting back to work. 32 for 41. Wonder how his center, Grant Gibson's doing. Let's check in with Lauren.
Yeah, I just received word from the school. He just got the wind knocked out of him, so he's good to go, ready to be back into it. I talked to him this week, guys. He's an absolute pleasure to talk to. Let me tell you, and I know, Batesy, I was telling you about this too, something that his teammates don't know about him and that you guys probably wouldn't expect from a 300-plus-pound center is back in the day, guys, he was on the swim team until he was in 5th grade. He said, I absolutely loved it. His best stroke was the backstroke, and that was his main event, that and freestyle. He said he was also pretty good at the butterfly as well. So fun fact about Grant Gibson, but just an absolute pleasure to talk to. Great leader, captain for this NC State Wolfpack team, and good for him that he's not seriously injured. Just got the wind knocked out of him on that play.
Yeah, you got that right, Lauren, and good for him, good for the Wolfpack fans and the football team. And you could see from those swimmer abs there, you could tell that he was a swimmer.
Speaking your language
is down, but
hopefully Ian Swenson just got that wind knocked out of him here too.
But Grant, he's in the right school, guys. If he's going to be a backstroker, I know it's in his past, but this is kind of backstroke you. Braden Holloway was a backstroke All-American. He's the head coach of this men and women's swim team, and it's a very good team, very competitive at NCAAs and in the ACC. But last year, Catherine Burkhoff, a national champion in the 100 back in 21 and 22, and they did it with a sweet men's and women's. Kasper Stakowski won it last year. The men's 100 backstroke. So it's a good stroke around here.
Michael Allen with his biggest run of the night picks up 14. Hey, Batesy, you surprised at all that Devin Leary's still in the game here? $1:40 to go in the third.
Maybe this will be the last drive, I would like to think. There are a lot of records within reach for Devin Leary, and and if you're going to blow a few teams out here and there, it's kind of hard to reach some of those goals and those records. And we've talked about it. He's been pretty good, but he hasn't been as perfect as they would like. But to be in here, and if they're just going to hand the football off and run out this clock, it might be time to kind of move him out. But maybe the plan is let's just get him 3 good quarters and pull him out of there and let someone else go in there and move it around and give someone else some experience. I mean, unfortunately, that's the way college football works. A guy like Jack Chambers, we saw him against Charleston Southern. He's a good quarterback as well.
Allen will move the sticks one more time as the clock continues to wind. Final minute of the third. Be sure to stick with us after the third quarter for the fourth. Brought to you by CPI Security.
According to my calculations, it's about 26 seconds away, actually.
Barring an incomplete pass, you are 100% right as usual. Keeping it on the ground, Michael Allen getting some work. Barging down to the 36.
Number 24, Michael Allen with the carry. Tackled by 0.
Only one score in this third quarter. 4-yard pass to NC State's number 4 for Devin Leary's 4th touchdown of the day. And it's 38-3 through 3 here in Raleigh. Welcome to the fourth, brought to you by CPI Security, home security that protects what matters most. Capacity crowd here at Carter-Finley Stadium tonight. Evan Lempler and enthusiastic James Bates here in the booth. It's hard not to look ahead to next week, even coming into the game tonight. But now that we are here, 15 minutes on the clock, what's on your mind thinking about next week?
Yeah, for us, it's not hard. For everybody down on that field, it's about right now, it's about these guys going in there and preserving what they would have hoped to have been a shutout, but preserving that 3 on the board if you're on defense. Offensively, getting those reps in there. I mean, these are valuable reps. And so this is still full 100% focus on us, on this game right here, and they will continue to do that. It'll be curious to see here if we do see Devin Leary go back out there in the fourth quarter, but they need to focus on this. Now, for us, I am looking forward to this clash of the Titans here early in this season next week. We have the luxury of looking ahead.
Well, Clemson escaped in Winston-Salem today. NC State is going to South Carolina next week. The fourth coming up after this quick message from CPI Security. Three down, 1 to go, and our game summary is brought to you by Green Machine.
There you go, through 3. The total yards, the biggest lopsided number column on that board, 460 to 67, and down at the bottom, 0 for 9 on third down conversions. The UConn offense, you can't win football games if you can't stay on the field.
The other team 8 for 10. Leary still in there, rifling long. And through the hands of the deep target, Terrell Timmons Jr. Would have been the 11th different receiver to catch a pass tonight if Timmons could have hauled that one in.
Well, and once again, there's Trey Wortham continuing to fight all the way through that play, and an excellent job right there in the hip pocket. And good pass breakup once again by a cornerback.
Delbert Mims getting a heavy load here in the second half, and he will take this one on third down for another conversion. Wolfpack 9 of 11 on third downs today with 26 first downs compared to UConn's 2. And remember, it was the first 2 plays of the game, James.
Yeah, like, hey, we might have something going. Might have an interesting one here, and it was snarfed out in a hurry.
Sure was. Leary looking long, and there wasn't much space on the sideline, but the flag thrown. Intended for Anthony Smith, who had a 40-yard touchdown catch in the Charleston Southern game.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 14. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Coaching up Bell here, and you know, they have been able to cover these receivers without putting their hands on them here throughout the night. That time, Bell just, for whatever reason, felt like he needed to force Smith out of bounds. There wasn't much room for him over there anyway, the way he lined up and ran the route.
Goodness, not what NC State needs is Leary getting squeezed by UConn linemen.
Well, second sack of the night. Eric Watts back there. Good to see him back in. Looked like he had a cramp earlier and left the game. And you're absolutely right, Evan. I mean, this is your season right here. This is in the fourth quarter in a game that is at this point 38-3 and has been for a while, out of hand. You know, you just, man, everyone's holding their breath, making sure that number 13 stays healthy.
Dropped by Tootle. Backup quarterbacks for Leary are Jack Chambers, a grad transfer from Charleston Southern, and then the talented young freshman from Carrollton, Georgia, M.J. Morris. Both those guys saw time against the Buccaneers a couple weeks ago. And you figured in a 35-point game you'd see them in the fourth quarter tonight. But apparently, Tim Beck and Dave Doran want to see more from Devin Leary running the offense here. Timeout taken, and we'll take it too. 38-3 with 13:33 remaining. And we'll be honest, we were wondering during the break to each other here in the booth why Devin Leary is still in the game. He's had a nice night. One interception was a bad throw. His completion percentage could be higher because he's hit several hands that did not result in completions.
You know, and not to take too much away from this UConn defensive unit, there are a couple of these deep balls. If that's what you'd like to think, they've been trying to figure out ways to connect on those, be a little bit more accurate on the deep balls. Perhaps here's one right here. Here's a rep.
Should have been intercepted. Undercut by Sheeran.
Devin Leary's pass, incomplete, intended for number 21, Jalen Coit.
Intended for Coit.
Number 10, Sheeran on the double.
So Christopher Dunn's coming back on the field.
One interception earlier tonight, and this one should have been number 2. You talk about those offensive guys, the ball's gone in and out of their hands. Doesn't get any easier than this for Sheeran. Could have had a pick here at Carter-Finley instead. Here comes Dunn.
Dunn from 41. Officially a 40-yarder. Perfect.
Good goal is good.
41-3.
With 13:22 remaining in the fourth quarter.
And this is still interesting for some folks out there, James, because the line opened at 40 and it closed at 38. I'm just saying.
Oh.
I'm just saying.
Well, I wonder what Lauren had on her show. They talk about that stuff on those shows. That is interesting.
ACC football is brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places. And CPI Security, home security that protects what matters most.
UConn 91, NC State 87. They played 2 overtimes in Bridgeport on March 28th. It was the game of the tournament, arguably the game of March Madness for either the men or the women. James, there were 26 lead changes. There were 18 ties. Paige Beckers had 15 of her 27, though, in the 2 overtimes to send the Wolfpack home a game shy of the Final Four. NC State, though, a 32-4 season for Wes Moore. And Gino and Wes will see each other again November 20th in stores.
It's one of those, if you don't have a dog in the fight, so to speak, that you hate to see either team lose it. And just 2 teams going back and forth playing their guts out. And that's the beauty of college athletics.
It was an unbelievable game. Jakia Brown-Turner hit a crazy clutch shot, and such a great veteran class that Wes Moore had. Look forward to seeing what the Wolfpack women bring starting just over a month from now.
You know, it's starting to feel like it. This morning we got up and went to breakfast, and it was cold.
It was cool. It was cool.
Well,
for a
I'm
Florida guy.
So it
Come
was
on
cold
now.
for me. It was cold.
It was perfect fall morning weather. Lauren, was it cold or cool this morning?
I will say it was cool, but James Bates wore a short sleeve t-shirt being from Florida, and he's like, yeah, I'm so cold right now. I'm so cold right now. I'm like, dude, you're wearing a short sleeve t-shirt. Wear a long sleeve next time.
You can't ask a Michigander to judge the Floridian. That's not
We're
fair.
used to like blizzards, sideways wind. Similar to a Husky, we can survive in very cold temperatures, just saying.
Big stick from Sean Brown there on the run. Start this drive.
Yeah. Still playing hard, both sides of the ball. Got to be careful, and you got to bring those arms and wrap up, because some of these guys, and they've got one at NC State, Sumo Conga, you better not just go up and deliver a blow, because he'll come spinning right out of it and get 10 more yards.
Sean Brown has a nose for the football, scored a touchdown, recovering the block punt in the ECU game a few weeks back.
And I'll have you, Evan, and you, Lauren Jabara, know that the reason I wore shorts in the short sleeve shirt is because after breakfast, I went for a run through campus, which for many years I would come here in Carter-Finley just off of campus. I never knew the beauty of the campus here in Raleigh, but what an incredible area and a great place on a day like today. to go for a nice jog. So there, both of them.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Also, Batesy, I just have to say, kudos to you, because after breakfast I went and sat in my bed and watched football all day. So you definitely won that. You're 1-0 when it comes to the workouts for today.
Batesy wins the workout every day.
Yes.
Also, how do you go on a run right after you eat breakfast? Like, I need, like, the 45 minutes to an hour to digest. You know? How do you go right on a run after that?
Well, I took a little bit of time before I did, and I made a very funny meme for my daughter's boyfriend. It's his birthday today. Alfonso, happy birthday. And I did that. So it digested. It was a Southern scramble, so I needed a little extra time.
And don't forget the 2 biscuits. Don't forget the 2 biscuits, okay?
Maybe one even before you got there, too, with apple butter.
3rd time's the charm.
A Southern scramble. Down goes Turner.
Oh.
Josh Harris got there first. Caden Fordham finished him off. Loss of 9.
Watch Big Zero, man. He's so active. Look at him. Goes right through the middle of that offensive line. Big man right now at 325. A guy who's lost over 50 pounds since he arrived here on campus. Just a sophomore. And like you said, cleaning it up, Caden Fordham. Bright future for him, the young linebacker, redshirt freshman.
That's a drop. And that's not Zion Turner's fault. And if that pass was caught, he would be 10 of 11 throwing the football today. It's like the hidden stat in the game. Now, he doesn't have a ton of yards, although he threw for 17 last week, and he's more than doubled that this week. 38 yards on his 9 completions. But he's hitting his receivers. He's giving them a chance to make plays. They just don't have the bodies to make plays downfield against a defense like this.
Yeah, and a defense that has done a good job, too, of, hey, you can chip away all you want. We're just not going to, we're not going to give you the big hitters.
A hole for Houston. But it was 3rd and very long. So a gain of 13 brings them within about 5 of the first. And it looks like Jim Moore is going to go for it.
Yeah, linebackers stepping up and filling in those situations. You can't just trade a body for a body. If you're going to get in there, you got to set that edge. You can't give them that big wide gap to run through. Let's see what they've got for them on 4th down and 4 now.
Complete, but shy of the marker.
Shaheem Battle doing a great job. And again, this has been the ongoing theme here throughout the night for Tony Gibson's defense. It's 4th down and 4. You want to complete a 2-yard pass? We've got some guys that can tackle across the board in this defensive secondary. The linebackers as well. You can chip away all you want, but you're not going to get past us. Drop them, and they get back off the field.
Well, last September, right around this time, Devin Carter had the best game of his Wolfpack career to this point. And in double overtime, NC State took down the Tigers 27-21. The rematch is 7 days away in Death Valley.
That Devin Carter catch you saw there was the game winner in double overtime, and there's a look October 1st and beyond. Florida State, who, by the way, much improved. They're all over Boston College. Last I saw, it was a lopsided score there in the panhandle of the Sunshine State over Boston College. So that'll be a tough one. They'll get them here, though. Carter-Finley, and here we go. New quarterback finally for the Wolfpack, and Jack Chambers.
Charleston Southern transfer. Chambers going to work. I heard a story that you gave Jack Chambers a gift.
A Be Less Sucky Today keychain. And not that he was sucky and I'm telling him to be less sucky, but it's one of my little merch pieces, and you know,
you struck up a little chat with him.
I did. I went to practice, walked through a couple weeks ago before the Charleston Southern game, and was walking with Annabelle Myers, who does such a fantastic job every time we come to town, sports information director, and she said, hey, meet Jack Chambers, and I walked back with him and just enjoyed visiting with him so much. I wanted to give a little something because I felt like I gained something from the conversation. Yeah. It's an old, in his really old hotel key tag, you know, like the ones they used to have, the old Holiday Inn plastic key tag. Look at this little burst here.
And Michael Allen moved the ball pretty good on the ground.
Patience, moving laterally, and then trying to get outside. It's
true freshman from Greenville. Played at J.H. Rose High School.
Substitution. Offense. More than 11 players in the formation. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Dave Doran appears to disagree with the call.
Yes, he does. And the linesman there, he's like, okay, coach, did you see that? Hey, I'm usually not a good lip reader, but I could read that. Okay, coach. There's those pre-snap penalties, which they cleaned up for the most part in the thick of the game.
Allen tripped up. He was a sprinter for his high school track team. Ran a 10.700. It's pretty quick.
Yeah. Got a couple track stars, Victor Rosa.
Right.
And, you know, Jordan Houston, in street clothes here tonight, but as a youngster up in Maryland, he was one of the fastest in the nation when he was 10 years old in the 100 meters. Jackson Mitchell still in there flying around making tackles.
Entered the night with 49 tackles in 4 games. 9 more tackles tonight for Jackson. Durante Jones with 13 leading the way for UConn.
Jackson one under his total against the Wolverines. Last weekend he had 10. He had actually 16 tackles a couple weeks ago against Syracuse. Syracuse, nice win last night over Tony Elliott's Virginia Cavaliers.
Flag down. Chambers overthrows Allen in the flat. Pops back up after getting crunched pretty good.
Holding. Number 53 offense. That penalty's declined. 4th down.
Chambers hit pretty hard here as he got rid of that football. There's Watts.
Derek Eason, part of the 7-man rotation in the O-line, a backup guard. And misspoke before. Colin Smith kicked the field goal earlier in the quarter. And Smith, rather than done, getting a chance to kick here again. Colin handles kickoffs. He's done a good job with that. Getting an opportunity to do some scoring, although this one fades wide to the left. That missed field goal is very important to someone out there.
Oh, I forgot. Oh, no.
6:43 to play. A lot can happen in 6:43. It remains a 38-point game. But Zion Turner has done a pretty nice job tonight. Number 11 for UConn is 10 for 12 throwing the ball. Now he hasn't produced a ton of yards, only 3.9 yards per completion. But he's part of a storied history out of St. Thomas Aquinas High School. You got the legendary Michael Irvin, the Hall of Famer. The Bosa brothers. Those guys are fierce.
Yeah, I used to cover high school football back in Florida, and the Lakeland Dreadnoughts, and they're from Polk County, over near Tampa, and St. Thomas Aquinas used to go at it. George Smith, I believe, is the longtime head coach that won so many games. I mean, what an incredible institution, group of young men down there near Fort Lauderdale. And in the last 10 years, they've had more guys drafted that have graduated from St. Thomas Aquinas, gone on, of course, played college football, then into the NFL, drafted in the NFL, than any high school in the nation. And there's a look at one of the greats that played there, Zion Turner, who's not in right now.
Cale Millen replaced him. Cale Millen, whom Jim Mora has known literally since the day he was born. Jim Mora, roommates with Cale's father, University of Washington. Cale's had a journey. Jim Mora offered him a scholarship at UCLA, but Cale went to Oregon, then to Northern Arizona, and now another opportunity to play for Jim Mora. He said yes this time. Battled some injuries in the preseason, but feeling better. And that throw rejected like a Manny Bates block. Jalen Parker with a rejection.
Yeah, Millen at that point probably should have tucked it and seen what he could have done on the ground, because I mean, that was like right in the face. He's actually probably lucky that Parker went airborne, and he didn't decide to hit him right there in the face. He was so close. He had his choice.
Only point so far tonight for UConn. The field goal as the first half clock expired. That's a first down carry for Robert Burns, transfer from Miami, who is on the watch list for the 2022 Werfel Trophy, which is college football's premier award for community service, named in honor of your old quarterback, James, that led you and the Gators to the championship. 96.
Freshman brother, class of 92, after he won a state championship at Fort Walton Beach High School in the Panhandle. But yeah, what an incredible guy, and what an incredible list of college football players that have earned that trophy and that are up for it, like we have here every single year.
So it's a cool story as the carry taken by Victor Rosa. Why is Robert Burns on the Werfel Trophy watch list? He's the co-founder of an organization called Second Spoon. It's a non-profit that provides excess food from college dining halls to those in need.
Yeah, phenomenal. And there's a guy from another strong program in South Florida, Gulliver Prep. Started at Miami, did Rob Burns. Yeah, it's on and off the field. Incredible people here, some of these college athletes, not just football players, but they've got such a full slate that people don't really realize. And not to mention all the hard work in the classroom. For them to go and put what energy, what time they have left to helping other people out, to using their position to make things happen in the community. I mean, it takes, especially at that age, it takes for a very unselfish young man or young woman, and a very special young man and young woman. So it's so nice to be able to acknowledge them with awards like the Werfel Trophy, W-U-E-R-F-F-E-L, Werfel. There.
You learned how to spell that a couple decades ago.
It's not easy.
Well, I'm just waiting for the James Bate Award watch list for the best artists in all of college football.
There was a guy a couple years ago. I don't think it was Fox at UNC that designed a logo for him. A defensive lineman. There was a nice artist up there.
This could be a thing.
Yeah, it could be. It should be.
Do you do any sculpting? Because you could create a trophy.
Only when Whoopi Goldberg is around. Is that who it was? Is it Whoopi Goldberg?
I don't remember. Victor Rosa on the move. Down to the 23.
Showing you his wheels. There's another one of the track stars out there.
Yep. 10.74 in the 100-meter. State champ?
Yeah, state champ in the 200-meter last year. Look at him, Gatorade Player of the Year. Thrown into the mix after some of the injuries. I mentioned Nate Carter earlier. Looking young back out of Bristol, Connecticut, right there, Bristol Central High School.
Yeah, I'm not sure we talked enough about Nathan Carter tonight. I mean, if he was healthy, separated his shoulder last week against Michigan, he was a special running back at 190 yards in their opener against Utah State, 9.5 yards a pop. But he, along with many others, are banged up. Victor Rosa doing a nice job. And Lauren down on the sideline has more.
Yes, I actually talked to him earlier this week about two things. One, I said, you went from playing high school last year to playing under the lights against an ACC opponent. Last week at the Big House, he's like, this is what dreams are made of. Just being able to be out here, learn from my teammates, learn from head coach Jim Mora. And then he also said he gives a lot of credit to his high school coach, Jeff Papijan. When he was in youth football, he actually met his coach, and he was his older brother's coach, and the two of them played 1 year together in high school. They talked about coming to high school together, growing up, and just living out the dream now. But when he won Gatorade Player of the Year, his high school coach actually called him, told him, and he said, wow, man, I'm so proud of you. Congratulations. But he said a lot of his growth as a player throughout his entire career, not just in high school, but through middle school, even in youth football before that, was due to his head coach, Jeff Papazian. So congrats to them. It's an awesome relationship between the two of them, and really cool to see a freshman getting out here, getting reps, getting plays, and learning under a guy like head coach Jim Mora.
Absolutely.
3 years ago, Rosa started for his high school team quarterback. Because of his athleticism like that, it's a touchdown, and it matters to somebody. The Huskies are in the end zone for the first time tonight. Yards scamper from Victor Rosa, his second rushing touchdown of his young and promising career.
That offensive line continues to fight. Guys like Big Chase Lunt, who has been in there the entire time. The right tackle, a sophomore from Arlington Martin, back in Metroplex, Arlington, Texas. And Victor Rosa showing you that he can cut and turn it north and south and get into the paint.
5 first downs on that 10-play drive for Connecticut. Only had 3 first downs before that drive began. So a moment for Victor Rosa to remember. Jim Mora spoke incredibly affectionately about Rosa. Tough as nails. Love how he plays and practices. True freshman.
He was a scout team guy, you know, as most young guys are in the first week. Really good defensive back, they say, too. And you know, week 1, they're like, you know what? Yeah, I like what I see. Like it a little bit too much. We're going to have to get him involved. And he didn't flinch in the Big House last week when he was thrown into the mix, thrown into the fire in a hurry, and asked not only to run the football and be the premier running back, but to return punts and kicks as well. How about that sweet black turtleneck that he has? That's one thing that all these Floridians don't have to. They don't have a turtleneck that they wear with their football uniform late in the season like he did, like the Sprockets turtleneck that he had.
UConn could have onside kicked. Instead, they send it deep into the end zone. 2:08 remaining. And now a quick message from Works Nitro.
Meet Works Nitro. Powerful tools for any project with gas-like power without the gas. Fueled by PowerShare batteries to give you the power to outperform.
Sometime tonight or tomorrow, the game time will officially be announced for NC State Clemson next Saturday. The new batch of rankings will come out tomorrow, James, and NC State certainly passing the eye test tonight. A couple mistakes. You really want to be specific and pick nits. You can complain all you want, but 41-10 looks good. And Clemson is on tap next Saturday.
Yeah, but, you know, Dave Dorn will tell you, there's Jackson White, my man, and helping with the special teams right there next to Dave Dorn. His father's, speaking of all in the family, his father, Brian White's a great running back coach that is now at Bowling Green. But Dave Dorn in week 1 was upset. They go to East Carolina and beat a very good East Carolina team, and they dropped a good chunk in the polls. They won a football game, and they dropped. Yeah. My Gators maybe could have helped out a little bit. Tennessee's right in front of them, so they could have moved up in front of Tennessee. Yeah, the Gators won today and up on Rocky Top.
10th-ranked Arkansas is in trouble. They're down 23-21 late in the 4th.
Wolfpack 33 from their own.
A&M, is that who they're playing, A&M?
Yep. Number 6, Oklahoma's in trouble. Okay. They're down 27-20 against Kansas State late in the 3rd.
Wow,
Number 7, USC down 7-0 second quarter against Oregon State. There's going to be some movement, as you said earlier. It's going to be a wacky season.
And it's nice to have games in the ACC that are the gossip in college football. And Clemson, NC State next week. That will be the gossip. That'll be a fun one to key on.
Well, it's like earlier today. I mean, a lot of eyes were on Clemson, Wake Forest. Great game down to the wire. Big question for NC State, the status of Jordan Houston and Demi Sumo-Karngbae heading into next week. Houston didn't play tonight. Demi had 4 carries, 49 yards, and a score in the first half. We have not seen him other than on the sideline since. And NC State does not have to snap it again. And Dave Dorn says, thumbs up. Dave Dorn, the 144th game in his head coaching career. It's the first time he ever faced Connecticut. The 61st different college football team Dave Dorn has gone up against. And he beats them 41-10.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, Jim Morris in his first year, he's got some guys that continue to fight. He's got some athletes, had some injury problems of his own. Hopefully he can get a couple of those guys like his running back, Nathan Carter, healthy. And for the backs for NC State, I'm thinking you're going to see Jordan Houston and Demi Sumo-Karngbae next week when Clemson and NC State go at it. I sure hope so anyway. I'd like to see both teams at full speed.
That's 13 straight wins at Carter-Finley Stadium for NC State. And now the task at hand becomes ending the nation's longest home winning streak. The Clemson Tigers have won 36 in a row at Memorial Stadium in Death Valley, and that is on tap next Saturday. We thank you for being with us tonight from Carter-Finley Stadium. Don't forget Virginia and Duke next Saturday on your regional sports network. It has been a pleasure working alongside James Bates and Lauren Jabara, our entire crew. On behalf of everybody, Evan Lepler saying good night from Raleigh. The Wolfpack are 4-0.